Okay, guys, today's talk is going to be about obsession. However, this is going to be an interesting one. I am the type of person in the past who, or even now, whenever I get my hands on something or I'm very interested in something, I get obsessed with it. If I look into my past, for example, I think the first place to start would be Foursquare or Downball, for example. I joined a school and that was their main sport, and I'm very competitive. So everyone at lunchtime would be playing Foursquare. It's where you have a bouncy ball and you're trying to get people out by hitting it into their square, and then either they don't hit it or it double bounces in their square. And I got so obsessed to the point where I was practicing at least 3 hours a day. Every time my sisters would go dancing, I'd be against the wall, like a brick wall outside, playing for multiple hours, trying to be the best, to the point where before I left school, I was the best in the school. Not to like brag or anything like that, but the point is I was so obsessed with being the best and obsessed with the craft of Downball. Then I look into things like video games, etc. I was a competitive Fortnite player where I had a YouTube channel. I was growing that up as well. I look into story games like Lego Marvel, etc. I always had to 100% complete it. Point being, obsession is you are so tunnel visioned on the task at hand, whether that's getting better at closing, whether that's improving your articulation, whatever it might be. Obsession is super important and it's a superpower, but at the same time, it can be my biggest weakness as well. For example, I've been in high ticket sales for just under 4 months. I started February 17th, now it's June 15th. And for me, 4 months of complete obsession, waking up at 1 a.m., sometimes 11 p.m. the day before, constantly spending time on sales. And I think it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but it gets to a point where I start to lose myself, which is interesting to say, in the way that instead of focusing on me, being obsessed with me in terms of, hey, I'm going to do sales for 8 hours a day, then I'm going to do gym, then I'm going to read the Bible for an hour, then I'm going to meditate and focus and then spend time with my family and focus on the overarching best version of me and being obsessed with that. Instead of doing that, I was obsessed with the one thing at hand. That's where I found it has been my biggest weakness in the past. Now, going to Dubai, reflecting on a few different things over the past 2 weeks, I want to say, I have switched my priorities in terms of me being obsessed with sales 16 hours a day. I can still be obsessed, but instead of being obsessed with sales, I'm obsessed with being the best version of me that makes 30, 50, 100K a month. And that version of me doesn't spend 16 hours a day doing sales because that version of me burns out. I don't like believing in burnout, but at the same time, it's not sustainable in a fact where I'm not sleeping 8 hours a night, I'm not training, etc. So if instead of me focusing on being obsessed with sales, being obsessed with the craft, I can be obsessed when I'm doing sales, and then when I'm not doing sales, I'm doing something else that is also improving, getting me closer to that version of me that's making 100K a month. For example, right now, I'm looking at my calendar, by the way. Right now, I'm doing a YouTube video. Just before this, I was doing a visualization meditation. Before that, I just woke up. Then I've got objection handling training after this. Then I've got calls. Then after that, I've got my gym session. After that, I'm going to do some cardio. Then I'm going to read. So I'm doing sales still 8 hours. So I said sales, that's 8 hours of training and then calls. And then after that, after I read, I shower, I do meta model practice, which is a form of language where you can deconstruct people's sentences and see where their worldview is. And then after the meta model practice, I read again for 30 minutes. Point being, obsession is so important if you want to be the best. So important. But instead of you being obsessed with the specific, let's say sales, for example, be obsessed with the best version of you. If the best version of you at this current point in time is doing sales for 16 hours a day, that's okay. But know that that's not what the best version of you, in my opinion, for me, is going to do for the rest of my life. for the 4 months, yeah, that was me. Now, I'm thinking and operating from the version of me that values family time, that values spending time with the Lord, that is whole and balanced. Balance for some people is working 4 hours a day. Right now, currently, it's 10 hours a day of work for me. And then I got 6 hours outside of that, that is training my mind, that is spending maybe an hour with my family, conversating, not watching movies and shit. That's wasting time. Not to be negative, but in my opinion, if you finally get time to spend with your family and you do it via being inactive with your brain, you get less out of that hour. So for me, if I get to have an hour with my father and mother, I'm going to conversate with them for an hour, get their worldview on things, or talk about life, etc. Because I feel like that is more valuable. It's more worth compared to, hey, let's watch a movie. I think there's a time and a place for movies, but currently for me, no. That being said, be obsessed, but don't lose yourself. That's one learning lesson for me, where it's so easy to, let's say you're a dog and you're chasing a car, and then this car, it's going 100 k's an hour and you're still chasing it, and then your feet start bleeding, but you don't care. You're chasing the car. And you put it to the side and you're like, yeah, I'm disciplined. I'm going to keep running while my feet are bleeding. But if you keep running while your feet are bleeding, I think discipline is so important. But if you keep running while your feet are bleeding, eventually you're going to be disabled and you're not going to be able to run anymore. So it's about having that other side of the coin where, hey, it's harder to recover. In my personal opinion, it's harder for me to not do sales and instead read, I won't say go to the gym is harder, read, spending time with my family. Because when I spend time with them, I need to completely shut off my mind when it comes to sales, because I'm focusing on, I could be making money right now, I could be coaching people, or I could be learning, I could be doing so many things. And when I spend time with my family in that way, it's negative. So in my mind, it's easier to work 14 hours a day because I'm feeding that voice. Whereas the disciplined version of me works 10 hours a day, and then the other 4 days he actively rests. There are so many people who are obsessed with the gym, and it's, in their opinion, and mine as well, as it used to be, is I want to be in the gym for 3 hours a day. This is my favorite part of my day. Can I stay here? So it takes discipline to only work out for 60 to 90 minutes optimally, and then rest. It's harder. So with this specific video, the message that I aim to portray is, do not be obsessed alone with the task at hand, but be obsessed with being the type of person who reaches the goal that you're looking for. I visualize the version of me that's at 30k a month right now, because that's my next milestone. Could I be visualizing the version of me that's making $100 million a year at 40 years old? Yes. But right now, what's serving me is visualizing the 30k per month before September, so August. And I'm aligning my actions with that version of me. Instead of focusing on, I need to get 30k a month, it's I get to align myself with the version of me that is making 30k a month. Not, I need to make 30k a month. I am operating from the version of myself that makes 30k a month. If in that season it's working 14-hour days, okay, I'm willing to do that. However, you need to weigh out specifically what you value and what you're willing to trade off. For a good month, I was waking up at 11 p.m. and I would go to bed at 3 p.m. I didn't get to see my dad, right? Is that funny? No, it's pretty bad. So am I willing to make that trade-off for a short period of time? Yes. But going forward, am I wanting to make that happen? No. So I'm pushing my schedule. Now I'm waking up at 1:30, so I get to go to bed at 5:30. Am I willing to make sacrifices? Absolutely. But I am walking in alignment with the version of me that is at my goal, that God would smile upon. I hope you took some notes from this video. Post them in the comments. That would be fantastic. I'm keen to see people's takeaways. God bless, and all the best.